All right, let's walk through setting up your Stripe Connect account so that you can start processing payments with Sapling. When you create your account for the first time, you're going to get a initial campaign that you set up during sign up, and you can create additional campaigns. Once you have your Stripe Connect set up for your first campaign, any additional campaign will use that existing Stripe account. So this is a one and done type of setup. So let's go ahead and click on the Blue Dog Rescue. It's going to say that Sapling payments are not set up. Please be sure to complete your payment onboarding before promoting your site. And then shortly after, you get another notice that says tap here to complete your Sapling payments setup. So I'm just going to do this absolutely first right away before I do anything else. Now I'm going to use my test account, very similar to the process in your case. So you want to use a phone number. I'm going to use a test phone number, but you would use your own mobile device, and that will actually send a code to that device so you can get logged in. Now, before going too far, I just want to say that when you're setting up for your organization's Stripe account, you need to be a manager of the organization, somebody who can speak for the organization and vouch for and have access to the payment information, because you're going to connect Stripe directly to allowing deposits into your checking account. Money, card data, account information, all of that lives at Stripe. Sapling does not see, process, transmit any of that data. It is 100% handled by the Stripe Connect platform, which means it is at the highest level of security and compliance with regulations. So you just want to make sure that that's something you have access to and can set up and make happen while you're going through this process. So the business location is going to be United States, and business type, you have nonprofit organization. So let's continue. And the next step is to tell Stripe a little bit about the business. So I'm just going to call this Blue Rescue Shelter. And doing business as is optional. I'm going to leave that blank. I'm going to put in the EIN, just a blank zeros, but you would actually use your organization's tax ID number. And then you would put in the address of the organization and the phone number of the organization. And then under industry, this is important, you just want to search for nonprofit. And then you'll see here where it says charities, social service organizations. Go ahead and choose that. This is what tells Stripe what type of processor you are. And so you can, nonprofits have different processing rates and so on. Then you want to put in a nonprofit website that you own. I'm going to go with example.org and then continue. Oh, looks like I need to put in a valid. Let's just put in google.com. Oh, doesn't want that either. Let's do cnn.com, news agency. All right. Now, in your case, you would actually put in your valid nonprofit organization URL. So verify your personal details. This is where you're going to put in your information so that it can authorize you as an agent or a manager of the organization. So I'm just going to put in manager as my title. I'm going to put in date for when I was born. Let's just go with that. And then my personal address. So that way that Stripe knows where I am. And then I am going to put in another phone number. This is my personal phone number. Now, this is where we start to validate who you are, and Stripe needs to know that, we can validate that you are who you say you are and that you are not trying to deceive the system, because we're dealing with your donors' funds. So we want to make sure that everything is above board. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in the last four of my social. In this case, it's a test number. Now, it's probably going to kick back and say, well, we're going to need a full social security number, but we'll get to that in a minute. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to set up where payouts will be sent. This is when people make donations to your organization. The money processes directly into your nonprofit checking account. The funds do not go to Sapling or my account or anything like that. It goes directly to it. So in this case, you would search for maybe PNC, Wachovia Bank, or Fifth Third, or you could eventually just choose a generic, and it will actually let you put in your checking and routing number. So I'm going to agree and continue. And this would be where I log into my banking institution. And then it'll list my available accounts if I've logged in successfully. If I banked with a small credit union, for instance, and I needed to put in my routing and checking account numbers manually, it would ask for that. But in this case, I'm just going to choose that. And then also, you have the option to set up with Link. This allows people who have a Stripe Link account to immediately process their payments through Link. Kind of like a PayPal or who else does stuff like this? Let's just go with PayPal for now. But Venmo, that's the one I'm thinking of. Venmo, you can set up and make payments all over the internet if people author or use Venmo. I'm going to choose not now, and then done. And now, again, I've chosen an account of the accounts that I've selected. I'm going to choose this as my payout account. So that means that when Sapling deposits your funds, it's going to go into that account. The good news is that Sapling has no access to this. It doesn't see any of that, and it's all completely private and secure. Now, this is the final page where you review and submit. What you want to do is almost definitely you're going to want to come back down here to membership and ownership, and you want to look at this tag right here. Until it says verified, we want to stay on this page. So I'm going to say edit because it says incomplete. So yep, it does want my full Social Security. So I'm going to put in my test security. Now it may come back, and if it likes your Social Security and everything's fine, then it will say here, it will say verified. In my case, because I'm doing a test, it may come back and say, no, we need something else. We need a photo ID, which could be a driver's license or a passport. Most of the time in a production environment, it will verify. Now this process can take up to 1 minute, as it says here. I've found that this process is a little bit slower on the testing side than it is on the production side. So we're just going to wait for this to say verified, but my guess is it's going to want me to add a photo ID. So once it gets done, we can there we go. Oh, it says verified invalid. Let's go to edit. And now it couldn't validate my Social Security, probably because it was a test. So now it wants me to take a photo ID of myself, and I'm just going to skip with a success. And what you would normally do is upload a picture of your driver's license. And this is a one-time deal. And now what it's going to do is kick me back to the review and submit page with a verifying, and it will come back this time with a verified, meaning it said, okay, fine. I have a Social Security number, I have his phone number, his address, and I also have his picture, so I think we're good. Now Stripe can say, yes, this is who they say they are, and we are comfortable depositing funds into this account. In the day and age of hacking and all that, this is a really important verification step. So again, this can take up to 1 minute for Stripe to verify and to process, and then when it's done, it will actually say verified, and we can continue. And there we go. Now I can agree and submit. And now I am 100% set up with Stripe. You can now start processing. So we did a check, we made sure, and now I can go back to the home and I can record my first video. Get that going and start promoting that via email. Don't forget, you can always use the AI content to craft some really good email messages, X posts, Instagram, and so on.